After years of delays, South Africa is finally rolling out the long-awaited ARTO traffic system. It's set to launch phases from the 1st of December this year. The new law introduces a demerit point system that could see drivers lose their licenses for repeated offences. But as the countdown begins, key questions remain. How will it work? And is the system ready? Let's now speak to Monde Mkalipi, the spokesperson then for the Road Traffic Infringement Authority. But Monde, appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newzroom Afrika. Let's talk about where we are exactly. And let's talk also about the start date effective. It's not the 1st of September now, right? It's next year, 1st September.
Yes, good morning, Rabile, and to the listeners of Newzroom Afrika. Well, as you have rightly pointed out, the system is coming in phases. Now we have completed phase 1. We are moving on to phase 2. During phase 1, we had to do a thorough state of readiness in all the 213 municipalities. And as you have rightly pointed out, we are going to start now, that is from the 1st of December, with 69 municipalities. We have done some of the work in the 2 jurisdictions, which is Tshwane and in Joburg. And now we're going to move on to the 69, and then again on the 1st of April 2026, we're going to proceed to the other municipalities, which is 144. But more importantly, Arabil, I think what we really need to indicate is that ARTO is a national road safety intervention. It is really designed to make sure that to address the problems that we have on our roads. We have about 40 people who die on our roads on a daily basis. Wow. And again, we have about 12,000 going up to 14,000 people who die on our roads. So it's a matter that really desires that we step in. So as the Road Traffic Infringement Agency, we have done some tests in terms of pilots in the 2 jurisdictions of Tshwane and in Joburg. And now we are going to proceed to the rest of the country. It is going to be quite a very intensive exercise because during our tests, for example, we have been able to see how the ARTO elective options work. And now we're going to spread the program to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
During the tests, we have been able, for example, to establish or to make road users benefit from the system in the sense that we've got 50% discount that each and every road user gets if they pay their traffic fine within the first 32 days. And the other more important element of the system is the representation system, where road users are able to submit disputes to query any traffic fines that they feel that they've been unfairly meted onto them or issued onto them.
Yeah. So let's talk about that 50% discount then that will apply. It would be 32 days. Is that from the infringement or from receipt of notice of the infringement? Because that could be 2 different days because you could receive it electronically or via post.
Yes, the way in which we are going to serve the documents, Arabile, there are 3. The first one is personal service. That is where you receive your infringement on the roadside. The second one is electronic service. And the third one is registered mail. When it comes to personal service, if the infringement is served onto you on the roadside, then that starts counting from that day that you signed for it on the roadside. But when it comes to the registered mail, it starts from the day it is released from the post office. And then we give it about 10 days where perhaps we are going to make an assessment if you have really received it. Once you have received the infringement, and then it starts counting from 10 days from the day it has been released from the post office. That is the presumption that the document was served onto the infringer. When it comes to electronic service, which is a new part of the legislation, then we're going to be able to monitor your email if the infringement document has been able to arrive on your email and have also opened it. And then we're going to start counting from those from that period in terms of the 32 days. And then the process builds up, Arabile, from that 32 days. After 32 days, if you have really not responded to your issuing authority in terms of going to make the payment or applying for representation, and then we're going to proceed to the next stage, where the infringement is going to be handed over to the Road Traffic Infringement Agency. Sure. Then the Road Traffic Infringement Agency is going to issue a courtesy letter or a reminder where you are expected to resolve the traffic infringement. But the critical aspect also during this phase, Arabile, is the fact that the infringer is provided with all these different options that he or she can use in terms of resolving the traffic fines. So if then you fail to pay attention or to resolve the traffic fine within the second 32 days, and then it moves on to the next stage, which is the enforcement order.
Sure.
The enforcement order means that you are going to be blocked now from doing any transactions on the natives in terms of renewing your driving license or even your license disc.
You spoke about the ability to contest these fines as well as the demerits then. Let's talk a little bit more about that. This could happen in court, but also if you weren't necessarily the driver in question and it was linked more to your vehicle, you can actually allocate a driver or an infringer. Is that the case?
No, in terms of, because the ARTO system really seeks to take the burden off the court, because infringements now are going to be dealt with administratively. Going to court, it should really be the very, very, very last resort after we have exhausted all the administrative processes that are presented by the ARTO system.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the infringement, if you submit a dispute, it comes to us as the Road Traffic Infringement Agency. And then we have our representation officers who are going to assess it, and perhaps depending on the amount of evidence that we have provided, they will make a determination whether to cancel the traffic fine or to keep it. And then if perhaps you are unhappy with the outcome of the Road Traffic Infringement Agency, and then you can still escalate your query or your dispute to another body, which is the ARTO Appeals Tribunal. And then you can still take it up perhaps to the magistrate's court after we have exhausted all the processes that are within the ARTO system. That is what it's mainly meant to do, because with the court system, we experience a lot of delays in terms of resolving of these traffic fines. This is where ARTO comes in to make sure that things are done quicker and more speedier, so that we don't have a situation where we have infringers, people who continue to violate the laws of the road. They still continue to roam on our roads and put other road users in danger. Yeah,
Monde, let's talk about the fines now. I mean, there's a lot of them, right? We can't necessarily go through a whole list of them, but we do have the ability to give you just a few of these to our audience, and we've just selected around 8, and this is just in general, right? This is not very specific to all of them then. But one of those things is vehicles with no number plates. You ultimately get a court appearance then, plus you get 6 points added then to your license system then as well. If you become an unlicensed driver or ultimately don't have a license when you're driving, it's a fine of 1,250 Rand plus 4 points added to your license. Disobeying a stop sign or a traffic light, then 750 Rand fine and 2 points added. If you're driving under the influence, also a court appearance and 6 points. How do you ensure that these are enforced correctly, continuously, and are without corruption?
Yes, the element of corruption, it keeps on coming up in the system, and I mean in the discussions that we're having around this particular, the rollout of ARTO, because currently the main issues that we are dealing or we are handling infringements through paper, and now with the introduction of ARTO, the rollout of ARTO, we are working with our issuing authorities where we are going to have gadgets that are going to be carried by the traffic officers on the roadside, so that they are able to load the infringement right on the spot and have it conveyed electronically to the National Contravention Register. So this is how we are really going to make sure that we eliminate any hand of corruption in the process. When it comes to the infringements themselves, as well as the attachments of the demerit points, we should indicate that, one, demerit points are also not going to be permanent. If you have been allocated demerit points, let's say, as you have rightly pointed out, you are driving without your driving license, and then perhaps there are 4 demerit points that are allocated to you upon admission of guilt. So if you drive well, let's say for a period of 3 months after you have been allocated 4 demerit points, 1 demerit point falls away, and then you drive away for another 3 months, another demerit point falls away. So that is basically what is going to happen. But when we are introducing the points demerit system, Arabile, we're going to look mainly at those infringements that really cause severe fatalities on our roads. One, we're talking, for example, about drunken driving. It is a very, very serious traffic violation. That one also goes to court, but it carries with it also demerit points. about 6 of these demerit points are going to be allocated to that. So it's really going to depend on the severity of the infringement, and we are going to start with those as we are rolling out ARTO. And again, as I've indicated, not all demerit points or infringements are demeritable.
Yes.
There are some that are of lower impact on our roads. Those perhaps might not be demeritable. So it's quite important. The intention of the system is mainly to deter road users from violating traffic laws. And above all, it is a road traffic intervention that really seeks to address the main problem that we have on our roads, which is bad driving. At the end of the day, we seek to change the behavior of the road users. But coming again to the points demerit system, Arabile, this is how it is going to work. We're going to start all of us from 0. There is no countdown as some of us think it is going to happen. It is going to start from 0, all of us. And then as one commits violations on our roads, gets infringements, and then they are going to build up. The threshold in terms of demerit points is 15. Once you get at 15, and then you exceed 15 demerit points, on the 16th demerit point, then that's when the suspension begins to happen. Suspension, first suspension and second suspension, if you go over the threshold, and then on the 3rd occasion that you exceed the set threshold, then your driving license gets to be taken away. The state deserves the right to take back the driving license because it belongs to it. Once it gets to be taken away, it means that particular road user or motorist will not be allowed to operate on our roads. Then he will be subjected to a rehabilitation program. That rehabilitation program is supposed to be mandatory, and upon completion of the rehabilitation program, and also starting from the beginning, from the learner's driving license and going back into the system now, then the road user, it's only then that that person will be able to get back onto our road network.
Monde, I've got so many questions now following that. I'm so sorry, and we're going to need to try and keep it as short as possible. One, what happens to the current tickets or the tickets that you would have at that time before the system comes into place? Do any of those tickets then count towards that, or will that then just count towards a previous system and it will just need to be paid and will only count to those that come into effect from the time that it is fully implemented?
ARTO is operational in 2 jurisdictions in the country right now, in Tshwane and in Joburg. And all those tickets that have been issued under ARTO in Tshwane and in Joburg, they are going to be dealt with under the current system. Perhaps there is no intention of loading demerit points on tickets that have been issued under the ARTO system. And to the rest of the country, where we have the Criminal Procedure Act in operation, that is when those tickets are also going to be dealt with under that particular dispensation. We are going to come up with transitional measures as to how do we deal with the rest, because we also need to embark on an intensive public education drive to make sure that road users are aware of the system before we gets to be implemented throughout the country.
Is this valid for minibus drivers as well as bus operators as well?
It is valid for all the road users. This is the law of general application, Arabile. Everybody, whether perhaps you are using your car in the morning to drive to work, to park it and drive back, or whether you are a person who operates a vehicle from the morning up until sunset. It is a law of general application, and it is going to apply everybody equally so.
Monde, what is failing to keep left?
Failing to keep left on the road, it means that if you are driving let's say you are driving on the highway, you will be expected to keep left. You cannot continue to drive on the right-hand lane when perhaps there are no cars on the highway. So the main intention is that all the road users must be able to keep left as they drive on the road. As you all know that if you're on the freeway driving, let's say there are 2 lanes, you are expected to keep left. If you are driving all the way on the right-hand lane, then that means is a violation. You might be ticketed for that because you are expected to keep left all the time when you're driving on the road.
Okay, I thought it was one of those where if you're on the highway and you're on what is known as the fast lane and you don't actually move out of the way for people, then you could get a fine for doing that, actually. I thought that's what it was.
It is exactly the same situation, Arabile, because as I'm saying, If you are on the road, you are expected to keep on the on the left lane all the time as you are driving. Because as you are rightly pointing out, if you are driving on the right-hand lane, you are obstructing vehicles from passing. Let's say you might be driving at 60, and on the freeway, you are expected to drive at 120 kilometers per hour. And now you are driving at 60 on the fast lane, and then you are obstructing other vehicles from passing and proceeding.
Monde, what if I'm traveling at 120 and somebody wants to come behind me at 140 now? Now I'm in trouble and I must move out the way.
No, I think it's quite important, Arabile, to make sure that we stick to the laws of the road. Whoever will be driving behind you at 140 kilometers per hour at a 120 spot, that person might just as well just pass because you are applying the law correctly. But it's important that if there is no vehicle on the left-hand side of the road, please proceed to the left-hand side. Where they are driving at 120, if there are no vehicles that are on the left-hand side, please proceed to the left-hand side and drive there all the time.
This is going to be a fascinating conversation as it comes into play. Then you've got about a year to set it up. I think in a year, you're going to have a lot of question marks still to come then. And Monde, hopefully we can have this chat again then if we need to clear up anything else. That's Monde Mkalipi, the Road Traffic Infringement Authority's spokesperson. Then the ARTO system set to come into effect then